Ian, welcome back for the both of us, huh?
Yeah, took the week off kind of unexpectedly. Life's busy, man. Life's busy.
Hey, life is busy. Life gets busy, all that good stuff. I know on my side, we are getting ready to wrap up this getting ready to start up this baseball soon, with the Barons. I'm sure you all are over there at your stomping ground as well. Y'all are preparing. It's quickly approaching, man. It seems
Yeah.
like we just finished up last season. Here we are at another one.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely it's gonna get crazy. Personal lives and both of our personal lives because we're really starting our work season here soon, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. 2025 baseball season all together.
No doubt, and hopefully for sports as a whole, we got a lot coming up. You got March Madness.
Mm.
Everybody's talking about that now at work today. They put out our bracket for us to get started.
Mm.
Um, should be an interesting one. I got a lot to say about that. I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit later. Um, Buzzpound, welcome back to episode 25 after taking last week off unexpectedly, like Ian said. Life gets busy, and sometimes the things you want to do, you gotta set aside for a little bit. So, but we're back. We're ready to talk about these Panthers and Hornets of ours, and also a little bit of free agency moves in football. It's been a busy last week. What you think, Ian?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Let's talk some Panthers and Hornets.
Let's do it, folks.
Touchdown, Carolina! You're listening to the Buzz Pound.
Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
A Queen City sports podcast covering your Charlotte Hornets and Carolina Panthers.
Halliburton, nowhere to go! LaMelo's done it! LaMelo's done it! Hornets win! Here comes LaMelo.
Here are your hosts, Ian Blair and Cam Gardner.
Buzz Pound, welcome back to episode 25. Sorry about last week again. Life gets busy, but sometimes you just gotta take a break and set the things you want to do aside. But neither here or there. We're back. We're ready to go, and I got a few things to talk about here. So, Ian, what did you think about last week overall? You got a lot of NFL moves going on there.
Yeah, quite a few since we last spoke. The NFL's kind of been all over the place. Cooper Kupp's a Seahawk, and we got Geno Smith is over there in LA with the Raiders, and it's just crazy, kind of shooking up everything around the league. And the Panthers also made some moves. Kind of started off the week strong with, I think, one of our biggest signings, Trayvon Merrick, the safety previously of the Raiders, still young, definitely a big signing. I was surprised we didn't double up on safety, especially with Xavier Woods and Jordan Fuller leaving in free agency. We definitely have a spot to fill still, but we really went heavy on the defense. Signed quite a few defenders. Tershawn Wharton from the for the Chiefs, excuse me. Another big signing on the defensive line, and Jonathan Roseboom, I believe, or Christian Roseboom, excuse me, linebacker. We really just went heavy on this defense, and that was the weak. You could tell this was the weakness going into the offseason, and didn't make any huge, ginormous splash signings. I think Rico Dowdle is going to be a good one-two punch with Chuba next year, the running back spot. But definitely improved this offseason so far. What do you think, Cam?
I'll take it. I mean, we've been preaching all season and postseason so far about how important defense is right now. There's a lot that has to be done there. Um, I mean, offense has a few tweaks they need to make. Clearly Miles Sanders is no longer there. He's a Dallas Cowgirl. I hope the best for him, but I'm not upset about what we got him, in replacement of it. Hopefully it works out. Still got Cuba. We know what he is. Got his money this past season. And I mean, shoot, we even got Thielen back. They got a
Yep.
restructured contract there. He'll be making a little more money, which I think is well deserved. I mean, he's not a wide receiver one at this point, but he contributed a lot with the talent that he has last year, and I will take that over anything. Good leadership between him and Dalton. I think they're good vets to have around. It's still a lot more to be done. There's been a few days where I'm just like poking the logo. I'm just like, do something.
Yeah.
What's the next thing here? So I guess the draft is going to be the main focus for next.
Yeah, yeah. I think we really set ourselves up to draft the best player available. At least that's what it's looking like. And it's going to be interesting. Debo Samuel got moved to Washington for a late round pick, which was surprising to me. I think the Panthers should have been, given up kind of in that sweepstakes. The DK Metcalf sweepstakes, I think we should have been. We did put in an offer for DK. It just wasn't as good as the Steelers. Steelers were offering him another year on that contract. I believe we offered 4, and the Steelers offered 5, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Um, or maybe we offered 3 and the Steelers offered 4, one of the two. But definitely need a receiver, man. It's going to be interesting to see what we do in the draft. We still really need a receiver. I think Terriota McMillan, the receiver out of Arizona, could potentially be our pick at 8, especially because we haven't made any moves at receiver. We brought back David Moore, I think, earlier today, I believe. But that's not going to get you over the hump in any way. But we just need to sign or trade or draft another big time receiver because the core we have right now, I don't think is going to do it for 2025. We do have some good young talent. Obviously Xavier Legette going into year 2 is going to mature and hopefully get a little bit better. But we still need some pieces in my personal opinion on that receiver room and more weapons for Bryce. I'm glad on the moves we've made so far. No big splashes as I mentioned earlier, but the defense is going to be better next year, and that's important. Our run defense is going to be better. Excuse me. Derek Brown coming back healthy will be huge, and extended J.C. Horn gave him, which was at the time the highest paid defensive back in NFL history, and then Derek Stingley got a contract a couple days ago. So he's no longer the biggest extension or biggest highest paid DB, but yeah, we're making the right moves, at least on defense. But I'm going to be interested to see what we do in the receiver room.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like you said, some of these veteran receivers are off the market now. The DK, I mean, T. Higgins now with the whole restructure they did up there to bring him and Chase back, which didn't surprise me at all. I mean, Burrow said he was willing to take a pay cut to bring his brothers back, and hey, all respect to that. I mean, that says a lot, and I like Burrow. Shows a lot of character. So hopefully they're able to bring some more success now that they got those guys back up there. I like to watch those guys personally. Just trying to think who else. Don't know what Wilson's going to do because now Fields is up there and they play college ball together. So, we got to see what happens there. I know he hinted at leaving New York at one point, but now that they got a young quarterback, he may try to stick around. I don't know. You know, it, I don't know, man. I feel like and like we said earlier, Cooper Cup, he's off the market too. Not that, he's anything spectacular, but he was a veteran receiver. But, you know, um, hopefully we can do something. I just don't know as far as receiver goes. I don't know what we're going to do now because a lot of the heavy names are off the market. And
Yeah.
those are people I was looking at heavily thinking I thought DK would have been perfect, but Steelers got him. So, and, they still got to figure out their quarterback situation up there. So,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
'cause
it's going to be interesting to see. I'm more leaning. It's really interesting to me the direction we went so far in this free agency because we went so heavy on defense, which was needed. We definitely needed to, you know, improve this defense. This defense still needs improvement. I think we made some steps in the right direction. We're still missing, a lot. This defense is not going to be top half of the league, I don't think next year. But it's definitely going to not be worst in the league. Um, in my opinion. But man, it's leaning more towards drafting a receiver early in the draft, whether it's at 8 with a McMillan or potentially a draft night trade. We've seen that happen. We saw the Eagles get AJ Brown on draft night, but I don't know, man. Dan's gotta make a move at receiver. I think we definitely need, and as you mentioned, DK would have been perfect. Um, I think he would have been a really good option for us. You want to give Bryce a lot more, definitely a really good weapon, the best weapon we've had on this team, arguably since Christian McCaffrey. I think DK Metcalf would be on this offense. So, um, man, receivers, it's just interesting. I think that's our biggest need right now, other than, maybe a star on defense, but it's going to be interesting to see what we do in the draft.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that again, that was just the one position I was looking at them making a move for. And I know they did throw in an offer for DK, but again, it wasn't enough as far as what he probably preferred. So, wish them the best up there in Pittsburgh, but we got to do something. I'm not sure what what the prediction could be at this point. Usually we have an idea, and most times it doesn't work in our favor. Just like DK. I mean, I thought sure we had a shot there because I knew we were up there as far as teams go. So we'll just have to see, man. A lot there's a. I feel like there's going to be a bit more moves going. I feel like all the big quote unquote splashes have already happened. Even a former Panther quarterback is now a Seahawk, Sam
Yep.
Darnold.
Yep.
I know a lot of people expected the Vikings to move on from him, but just from the year they had, I was just a little surprised that they let him go like that. But I know they drafted their young quarterback for a reason. I know he got injured, so um, obviously that's still their future they're looking at. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, let's see if Sam Darnold can replicate the season he had last year with the Vikings. I'd be surprised if he did, but it's going to be interesting to see. The NFL is really, shaking up a little bit as it always does during, free agency and the offseason, kind of starting to ramp up with the trades and the signings and all that. Um, but yeah, I think hopefully we can make a couple more moves and really focus on the draft now that we've got some free agents. A lot of the big names are off the board. Um, and I think, as I mentioned, I think the defense is going to be improved. I don't think it's going to be a top 15 defense in the league next year. Um, but we're definitely moving in the positive direction. I don't think we're moving backwards. Definitely added some pieces. Added Patrick Jones, second edge rusher from previously with the Vikings, still young. I think he's 25 or 26. Hopefully we can get some more production or get the best out of him and get some production out of him. And Tershawn Wharton, the defensive tackle from the Chiefs, I'm really excited about. Really productive last year, played well in the Super Bowl. I think he's going to be a really good piece, kind of interior pass rusher. Um, I think he's going to be a name to watch out for next year or this year, excuse me, in 2025. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward. We always get our hopes up for the start of the season. I'm sure we'll draft a big name or, someone with a lot of potential and get more excited and have high expectation for this team. And hopefully, I've been telling people we're going to win more than 5 games. So, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win 7 or 8, next year, hopefully. I think that would be a good season for us. But as long as we're moving in the right direction instead of backwards.
that was the same thing we said last season, and it started off very raggedy, but at least they upped it a little bit toward the
Yeah.
end to get us to where we ended. It wasn't anything great to talk about at all, but hopefully we could build off of what they showed. But again, receiver wise, Jalen Coker and Xavier Leggett, we can't look to expect to just build from that for the next
Mhm.
bit of years. We need a true veteran receiver. I like those guys. I like what they look like they can bring after some years of development, but we've got to get a veteran receiver. I'm so big on that. And I just don't think drafting another young receiver out of the draft is going to be the most ideal situation. But we'll see. Hopefully, Morgan does something, make something happen because that's something we truly need. Because we can't look at Thielen, all respect to him. We can't look at him to be that, wide receiver one veteran on our team.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, to your point, I think with the draft spot we're in, we're at 8. We drafted Liga late first round, traded up for him last year. And, you look at the rookie receiving class last year, you had Marv, you had Malik Neighbors, you had all these players, and that went early in the draft, and we settled for Liga, had to trade up for him. But I think we'd probably get the pick of the litter at receiver with the eighth pick this year. And I think McMillan is, although it is a much weaker draft class at receiver than it was last year with guys like Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. But I think the more I watch Terriota McMillan on film, the more I like him. You know, I think he's going to go top 15. I think he's wide receiver 1 out of this class after watching a lot. I like Luther Burden too. I don't like him in the top half of the first round, but there's a couple pieces. I like Emeka, Ohio State. Shout out to the Buckeyes. 2025 national champs or 2024 national champs won the Natty in 2025. But anyway, yeah, there's going to be some pieces we could draft. Whether it be a receiver, or go Jalen Walker. There's some options. There's going to be some options at 8, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see. And we need a bright young star with the eighth pick.
Yeah, well, at least we have the draft night to look forward to. Hopefully, it's one of those nights we leave feeling good about the picks and moves we make. So that's all I wish for.
Yeah, for sure.
Wish we could say that about these Buzz boys, though.
Hey, we did have a good night the other night, though, against the Spurs.
Hey, I can't lie. We did. And I was actually happy to be a Hornets fan again, even though it was just one night. But hey, that game was definitely worth being highlighted. I mean, everybody stood out. And it's not even like the Spurs are a great team, but they're not a terrible team either. But we
Yeah.
made them look terrible that night.
Yeah.
They out the, I mean, out the gate, they came out hot. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, where did this come from? Like, where is this nightly? Like, we could be in such a better spot if we play like this.
Yeah.
I mean, we won most of that game. We were in the lead by double digits.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just a hot shooting night. It's one of those nights hard to replicate. Nick Smith Jr. at one point was 6 of 6 from 3-pointers, had all 6 of his 6 3-pointers in the first half. And I was like, where has this been? Josh Green had 6 threes. LaMelo had 7, I believe. It was just a great shooting night all around from the team. And it's, nights like that when you're really hot from 3 is hard to repeat. You're not always going to be that hot, but it was just weird to see, man. It was like, especially with how this season's gone, I was like, it's just being a Hornets fan, it's life of a Hornets fan. You have games like this and then you lose by 30, in 2 weeks. It's just crazy.
Just the fact that we had 4 20-point scorers was unreal
Yeah.
from the way we've been playing. I mean, LaMelo had 27 points, 3 rebounds, 15 assists. Nick Smith Jr., 26 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Miles Bridges, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. Josh Green, 20 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists. I mean, you would have never I would have never believed you if, you told me they were going to play like that again this season.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I didn't expect that at all. And I mean, I know Miles Bridges has been having some of the best games of his career, honestly, on a losing season. But
Yeah.
that cat has been showing out. And I just want to give a special shout out to him. He deserves that rest night tonight because it's a silly lineup tonight against
Yeah.
against the Atlanta Hawks. The
Yeah.
only true player that's in that lineup that's part of the starting 5 is Mark Williams.
Yeah.
And I think Seth Curry's out there and Josh Green is out there. Other 2 cats, I couldn't even tell you their names. They're probably 2 guys from the G League or somewhere
Yeah.
who never gets called up. But I know they said LaMelo was going to be out earlier today. Typically, I would send that stuff to you, but at that point, I was just like, no, it's not even worth it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's at this point we've been saying this, but this season's over. It's nice to see flashes and everything. I want games like that we saw from Nick Smith is huge. I think we need to see that on a consistent basis. Maybe not, definitely not to that level because it's just unrealistic expectations for him to go 6 from 6 from three point range. It's just not realistic. But more consistent shooting more, and that's what we need to see. On a more consistent basis. And it's just frustrating that this season's been the way it has because there's just no culture in the locker room. And it makes nights like the other nights so much more interesting to me because it's like, where did that come from? Like that's not happened all year. You know what I mean? And I look at down the score and Nick Smith is going crazy, and Josh Green, who hasn't played well all year, has 6 threes. Like it was crazy to me. And we talk so much about the future, but man, this team has so much potential, especially with what's looking like a top 10 pick, a high lottery pick, hopefully the number one overall pick. But I know the lottery is crazy and there's no telling. There's no telling at what that's going to end up like. I would love to have number one overall pick and draft Cooper Flag. I've been saying it, and I've been speaking it into existence at work, to the point where people are probably tired of me talking about it because I say Cooper Flag is a Hornet all the time. But man, I can't imagine this team with Cooper Flag on it. And if he did get drafted by the Hornets, it would be incredible because this lineup has a spot for him open right now. I mean, you think about it: LaMelo at the 1, Brandon Miller at the 2, Miles Bridges at the 3, and then Cooper Flag at the 4, Mark Williams at the 5. I mean, that's a lineup. I mean, on paper, that team's really good. Now, the culture of that team, there's no telling, but you know, definitely, I think all we can do at this point is look toward the future and have at least some hopes.
100%. And I mean, and I don't wish harm on anyone, but when Cooper Flag went down with that injury in Spectrum Center, home of the Hornets, it
Yeah.
makes you wonder,
Yeah.
is the curse already starting?
Yeah.
Because that was just too ironic. I mean, that is the type of thing that would happen to our team so fast.
Yeah.
And it's just like the lines line up so perfect for it to work in our benefit. But we know the luck of this team when it comes to the draft. I mean, every time we have a bad season, we think sure we'll get that first pick, but we always end up getting like 3 or 2. And
Yeah.
hopefully soon, hopefully this upcoming season, well, for one, hopefully Cooper Flag goes into the draft. That's still up in the air.
Yeah.
Um, we still don't know what he's going to do. A lot, there's a lot of talks of him coming back and coming back to play at Duke and, you know, do what he does best there. We'll just have to see, but keeping my fingers crossed because it would be the perfect addition to this squad.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, just keep speaking it into existence and hoping for the best. I hope we get a top 3 pick. I don't think Cooper Flag's going back to school. This is my personal opinion. I don't think there's any shot he goes back to school. Um, but who knows? He could prove me wrong. I'd be highly surprised if he went back to school. I mean, I guess it's going to depend on how this tournament ends. I guess might factor into a little bit. You want to talk about this tournament?
I mean, hey, Duke does have a lot of pressure. They got a lot of pressure at number one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think they could take it. It depending on health and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But and that's coming from a UNC fan at that. That says a lot for me to say that. But I like Cooper Flag a lot. I like watching him, not even because there's a possibility of him being a Hornet, but he's just a fun guy.
Mhm.
You know, I'm a diehard UNC fan, just like I am a diehard Panther fan, just like I am a diehard Hornets fan. But when I see players and talent that I like, I pay attention to them no matter who they play for. I just
Yeah.
love good sports in general.
Yeah.
Um, I look forward to the tournament every year, as the rest of the country and the world does. I mean, it's just one of the best times of the year, man. Because you never know. I mean, and and this is shocking for me to say too. UNC definitely does not belong in there. They don't belong.
Wow.
They needed to
Wow.
be. They needed to be NIT. West Virginia, I think, should have been in there for sure, just because of their season they've had. I feel like they got snubbed big time. I just don't think these guys got what it takes to go far in the end. But you never know. This season, I mean, this tournament every year surprises many. You see certain teams making it to the end. Some get bounced out way earlier than they should. I mean,
Yeah.
it it's just one of those things because in the tournament, what happens happens. It doesn't even matter what you did in the regular season because you only have that one shot. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
yeah, I
absolutely.
think it'll be fun. We got a lot of SEC teams this year. That's the big thing for me. It's
Yeah,
still such a shocker to see these SEC teams doing so good in basketball now.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely crazy that NIL world is completely different now. It's SEC teams are have a lot of boosters, that's for sure, and have a lot of donators and donations and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, man, this tournament's going to be crazy. I think there's so many good teams that I could see winning it. I'm down to three. I haven't made a bracket yet because I'm still really crunching the numbers and looking at analytics and looking at KenPom rankings and, offensive and defensive efficiency and, everything you do this time of year with trying to build brackets and everything like that. But it's gonna be interesting, man. I think I'm down to three teams that I think really, at least the three teams that I think are gonna win it in my book. I'm down between Florida. I think Florida's hot right now. They got a great team. Um, Veteran team, older guy, a lot of older guys. They got 9 guys that can play really quality minutes. Um, Duke is my second team that I think can win it all, man. Them winning their conference tournament without Cooper Flag. I mean, those guys really just stepped up, and that was impressive to me. And I think Cooper Flag, he's supposed to be back healthy for the majority of this tournament coming up in March. Um, and I think, man, that team's good. That team's really good. And then the other team, the third, is Auburn. I think Auburn is definitely up there, kind of on a cold streak. Lost 3 of the last 4, but man, you can't count out this team. Janai Broom and a lot of veteran, older guys. I mean, they have a 25-year-old starting in the lineup at Chad Baker Mazzara. So a lot of older guys that have played a lot of basketball in college. But I'm down to those three teams. Um, Houston's up there too, just because they're so good on defense. Their defensive efficiency is, I think, second in the country. I mean, it's crazy, but there's a lot of good teams, man. I think Alabama could go on a run. There's countless teams that I think could really win it all.
There's going to be a lot of competitive games this year. Over the past few years, there's been a lot of not so competitive games. You got that one team who will just start off hot and just it's already a winner from there. But I think this year we're gonna have a lot of neck and neck games all the way to the end, and those are the type of games I love,
Yes.
especially with this tournament because it's just you only got the one shot. Get that loss, you're done.
Hmm.
Personally, and again, it almost pains me to say, but at the same time, it doesn't. I'm going with Duke personally as my winner.
Hmm.
Not even just because they're representing North Carolina, but they're just such a good team. I mean, like you said, in the Ace tournament, man, I don't know. Yeah, it could be something, but and kind of like you, I definitely have Florida as a sleeper. Um, I'm not sure if everybody's really paying attention to them too much, but they got talent down there. They really do. It's been a long time since we've had Florida in the conversations like that, but I think they got a shot. Houston for certain. I put them as my third. That's a talented squad. If you catch them on a good day, if they're hot, I think they can make some noise and get pretty far in this tournament this year.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, to anybody, it's March, man. So there's gonna be upsets. People's brackets are gonna be busted within the first round. It's gonna be crazy, as it always is. And you could study the analytics and study the numbers, and they all go out the door as soon as the games start. So definitely love this tournament, and it's so fun. Gonna be so many good games. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I love it because Masters, big basketball fan here. I said Masters. You got the March Madness, then you go into the Masters in April. It's like a perfect time for me. I'm a big golf guy. I know not many watch golf like that, but it's one of my favorite times of the year. Two of my favorite sports back to back. You just can't beat it. It's
Yeah,
like perfect for me.
yeah, for sure. Well, Buzz Pound, we appreciate y'all joining us for episode 25. Kept it short. Tonight got a big matchup. North Carolina plays tonight as we're recording this podcast on Tuesday. So we'll see how that turns out. I'll definitely be tuned in. But as always, we appreciate you for joining us. Sorry about missing out last week. Definitely just getting baseball season, a lot going on. Really gonna start heating up for both me and Cam. But as always, you can follow us on both our social media accounts on both X and Instagram at BuzzPound Pod, and you can listen to our podcast on Spotify and on YouTube.
Before I wrap this up, I didn't do this yet today. Today, I'm repping good old Jonathan Stewart, 28, one of the best running backs we ever had prior to McCaffrey. I think he passed the torch to McCaffrey very well while we had him.
You can't forget about D'Angelo Williams, though.
You can't, but I did wear him a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But no, when we had both of those guys, that was a great time of rushing for the Panthers. But,
That was the first Sonic and Knuckles.
It really was. It really was. I mean, especially for that era, you could not. The league, I think, as a whole, enjoyed that because it was such a rare situation and scenario. But hey, we didn't win anything out of it, Super Bowl wise. But just as a Panther fan, it's one of the highlights of my fandom of my so far 25 years of life. So, but anyway, BuzzPound, thank you for joining. Again, we apologize for last week. We will definitely start putting notices out earlier. And with that being said, keep pounding, keep the high mentality.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the BuzzPound. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and let us know what you thought of this episode. Until next time, this is the BuzzPound.